Turn it up, 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 turn it up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HHWSHow Podcast presented by CMG Sports Podcast Network. This is the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and every audio podcast platform. That's right, it is the HHW Show. And we have a special guest. It's been announced for quite some time, but we got Ivelisse in the background. She'll be joining us shortly. And she is the 4-time Shine champion. We're going to talk about her match that happened last Sunday and then get to know her more throughout her tenure in the wrestling business. Hector, man, let me tell you, I'm excited for this. I really am, you know, and I was going to try, you know, women these days, they don't like to talk about age, right? And I was prepared. But I think I might get in trouble from this one because she might choke slam me or something. So I don't even want to go there. I don't want to say that the year that she came around, Juvia was the main hot song in Puerto Rico. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that.
You get tapped out, man. I'm just throwing in the towel. I can't help you. I just can't help you.
I can't. No. And, you know, Movela Colita was also the best merengue song during that era, too. See? You remember that? But hey, I'm not trying to show people's age or nothing like that because I don't do that. But you know, I am very happy that I have this special guest. So Ivelisse, thank you for coming. Welcome to the HHW Show. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous, man.
Good thing I don't care talking about my age. I'm a very rare female.
All right. So Sunday you retained your Shine Championship, and somehow I don't know what happened with Santana Garrett.
Me neither.
She turned.
But I like it.
Are you serious right now? You're gonna actually fess up and tell me or tell us that you had nothing to do with her backstabbing her partner?
I'll never tell.
So
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask her.
Yeah. Okay, we will. We definitely will one day, but not today. So here's some pictures right here on Shine 71. So those of you that missed it. So the stipulation on this match was that if you would have lost, you would have lost the belt. Is that right?
Correct. If either one of the champs lost or tapped, we would lose the belt to the person.
Okay. And then now the other team lost.
Any of them lost.
Did they both leave or one of them stay?
No, one. Whichever one got pinned or tapped, they would have to leave Shine. Got
you. And that's probably why she turned her back. You know, Santana Garrett was like, I'm going to play this card.
That too.
Smart.
You know?
Yeah.
Got a point there. But I don't know. I'm going to have to watch the next episode of Shine.
Good thinking.
All right. But you've been all over the place. Besides Shine, I saw you at Northeast Wrestling. You battled against Mercedes. I love the storyline. You guys started very slow. And again, I didn't know any history between the two of you. And as the match went along,
I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
right. Exactly. I saw. I started reading some stuff, knowing your background in Mercedes. One that I was shocked and I didn't know. Shame on me that she is from Waterbury, Connecticut. But but you guys used to be tag team champions.
Yeah.
So how did you guys like started off in your careers? How you guys meet up?
Well, me a long time ago, I had met her at Shimmer when I first moved from Puerto Rico to Chicago. That in Chicago, Burn, Illinois, that I was kind of like starting to learn about wrestling in the U.S. Of course, Shimmer was one of the first places that I was kind of started looking into and learning about, etc. And that's where I had met her long time ago. But before I had even established myself at all in the U.S. And then later on is when I did WWE Tough Enough, FCW, and all that stuff. And then eventually later down the line, once I was let go from WWE, NXT, then we met again at Shine. And here she was an established vet here at Shine and stuff like that. And it was just obviously natural, our chemistry in the ring. I think we first wrestled, if I'm not mistaken, the first time we wrestled against each other was after I became Shine champion. Like the first, it might have been the first defense or the second. And from that very day, it was utterly apparent our chemistry was just like butter, everything. Literally, read each other's minds in the ring, literally. So we made perfect foes, adversaries, but also as well, obviously helped for tag teaming. And when I started up Las Sicarias, my group Las Sicarias, it was just obvious, inevitable. She's a fellow Puerto Rican. She's been doing what I've been doing before me and everything. So a ton of respect for her has always been there for me. And it just was just automatic. She became part of Las Sicarias, and then later down the road, as Las Sicarias kind of sort of disintegrated, it was she was the one left, and that's when we did the full on tag team, and we were tag champs for a long time, and yeah, it just keeps, we'll keep we kept crossing each other's paths in one way or another for Shine, and right after she finally became Shine champion, was when we kind of started becoming adversaries again, and I took it from her, and that was the beginning of the third Shine championship. But then the COVID hit, and it kind of messed that up, and then yeah.
Yeah, COVID did a lot of things to everybody, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The match that you had in Northeast Wrestling, it shows that you guys had that chemistry, because it's very rare to see a storyline built in the ring the way you two did it. And again, it's for the past year watching Northeast Wrestling, you just see females just wrestle and then they're out. But you two, you had a little slow start, and then you guys were not at each other. And I was like, wait a minute, that's what I started thinking in my head. These girls know each other, and I need to find out where. And then it was fabulous. So congratulations to you and Mercedes for a wonderful performance. That's probably one of the best female performances that I've seen there. But I also seen you also in AEW.
I feel something that really motivates that too is the utter passion that we both have for what we do. I think that's a massive reason too.
Absolutely. Oh, before I even go there, not only the passion, but it was more for her because she was actually wrestling in front of her mom.
Yeah, that's another massive thing that I loved too, that I was able to be part of that moment for her. I believe it may be her last independent show that she does, and it's in her hometown, and all of that stuff. That was like, it hit me in the feels, like, I wanted it to make sure that whatever I contributed to that moment was something special, and it was good, and it was awesome.
Well, definitely it was. And, I don't know if you noticed, but I know I think you had left the ring and she stayed a little bit, hugging her mom and everything. But everybody stood up for that match. So, and like I said, that was wonderful. And girls need to see that, I specifically say that because there's a lot of girls out there that are exploring wrestling and everything
Mhm.
else, and I'm seeing the gender based change in the wrestling industry and also in the fans, because there's a lot of fans out there, especially young females that are watching and want to become wrestling superstars. You also competed in AEW and you made
Yeah,
history there.
yeah, with the AEW Tag Team Tournament champ medals cup, Tag Team Tournament cup with
Okay, how was
Diamante.
how was how was that experience compared to WWE?
I'll just say that unfortunately, politics always finds its way to kind of mess up what I stand for. uh, Hopefully, at some point down the line, the wrong will be righted, if that's even
If
grammatically
that's even a
correct
word.
to say. But one can only hope, right? But I'm incredibly happy for Mercedes to be there now, and I'm just hoping that at some point they will see that it was a massive mistake, and I can actually, because I want to retire soon too. At some point, I've been wrestling for 18 years. I think 20 is a good a good ride
Well,
enough, especially because um like I've been doing everything by myself too, so I am 3 times more exhausted. So hopefully I'll be able to, like, do some really big stuff if they open their eyes and choose to fix the wrong or whatever. But if not, regardless, no matter what, I'm gonna do what I always do, which is to do the best I can with whatever I got, and more importantly, more than anything, I wanna, when I retire, only gonna be retiring from performing to save my body. Like, I still want to be involved in helping women in every way, shape, and form, through training, through whatever it is I can, to keep pushing for the changes that need to happen for women's wrestling.
okay. I like that. I love that goals. I love when people have set a goal and they follow through. And that goes to your sweatshirt that you got going on there, bow to none. So I guess you'll stop at nothing to accomplish your goals. Can you tell us
Correct.
more about your logo?
My logo, bow to none. To me, bow to none. I know that if someone looks at it and reads it and kind of maybe if they could kind of twist it to an ego thing of bow to none, and like it's not like that at all. Bow to none to me is you bow to no one's perception of you. And you bow, especially negative ones. And you bow to no challenge either. It's always holding your head high through whatever is being thrown at you, and persevere through it all. Which is also linked to my other mantra of hard work over everything. Hard work, just always work hard. And at the end of the day, no matter what anyone does or says about you, your work will speak for itself.
And you
I
did
like
say
that.
you have merchandise for that?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, yes, it's Ronan. Nice. Thank you very much. Since we're on it, this is my hoodie. It's part of a bunch of other items, t-shirts, tanks, hats, backpacks, everything, of my online store, IvellisseStore.com. And you can get it there. Anything and everything through there. And all of them, there are a bunch of different color options and also payment options as well. It has payment breakdown as well.
And that will definitely be posted on the HHW Show website. So if in case you missed that link, don't worry about it. It will be posted there directly to her. So, um,
You
Hector,
know, yeah,
go ahead.
with that right there, that is like an inspiration to young women, you know what I'm saying? And you've been wrestling as long as you have. who inspired you to get into wrestling? Was there one person or a group of people that got you, interested in going to this route of wrestling?
Yeah, always when I get asked this question, it's never who per se, like, because I would say that a lot of different things from a lot of different people like helped push that motivation, or a combination of all of that kind of, for that motivation. But more so than anything, what sealed completely the deal for me was, long ago when I was watching wrestling, and I seen women breaking down barriers, like, when I see Trish and Lita main eventing Raw, the first females to main event, Raw and stuff like that. Seeing that, like, whoa, inspired me completely as a woman. For having desire to be in the pro wrestling business and things like that. And when I saw that, I'm like, yes, awesome. I want to be part of that. Like, whenever I start, within pro wrestling, whatever, I want to keep contributing to that. I want to make sure that keeps going, and it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing those those barriers for women within pro wrestling. That to me, was my, like, sealing that deal for me to want to get into pro wrestling, and that has always been, kind of like the fuel always for me, to just always, no matter what, contribute somehow, some way to breaking down those barriers for women's wrestling, whether it be through my performances, like just making people view women's wrestling differently, kind of like how you said, when you saw the match, and like, yeah, that, whether it be through that or through opening my mouth to changes that need to happen within for females, like one or the other. I just always want to continuously always be trying to contribute towards that. That's always been.
Yeah, well, I think that's awesome. You can't keep your mouth shut. Honestly, I think that you got to get the word out. That you got to be able to speak up and make this women's revolution more than what it is right now. It's taken off, and women like you, we want to see more of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was telling Ovi that when I first saw you, you remind me of Lita, and I was like, that kind of wrestling technique and everything like that. And boy, I mean, you must be hurt. I mean, you must be still sore from that match Sunday, because that
What
was
was it, that maneuver she did at the stair?
yeah, was that a
It
flying
was-
press?
I even forgot her name. I'm sorry. What was her name? She was sitting on a chair.
Natalia
And
Markova. I think that was
Yeah.
Natalia Markova. You went trying
right,
to fly
but
it?
I didn't see what Ivelisse did, but all of a sudden, like, the chairs were all the ground, and then she's holding her elbow, and I'm like, oh, that must have been some
Yeah,
serious
that's
stuff.
exactly what I was gonna touch on. I got a little scared there. My when I landed and we were falling into the chairs, I don't know what was going on, but one of the chairs that was on the side as we were falling or whatever, it was like bending my elbow all messed up, all weird, and that's what and I pulled it out before it got completely twisted. That was a little bit of a scare for my elbow, and it got kind of hyperextended, in a weird way a little bit, but I was able to pull it out enough before too much damage was done. Not like I haven't had my elbow extended, hyperextended before, but which is why I feel like I was able to pull it out before it was too messed up. But yeah, it was a little bit of a scare. It didn't feel good. But thankfully,
It didn't look good from my angle either, and I'm not even there.
Yeah, I was kind of hurting too. So let me ask you, you coming up in the wrestling business, has anyone given you any advice that sticks with you to this day? That you can actually, share and pour out to maybe the younger women who wants to become wrestlers in the business?
I would say, I don't know, because the thing is that my thing has always been, because I'm such a different type of female, like, which again, since you guys say that you guys are military, I don't know if you can kind of maybe not relate to as a female, but at least females within your field or whatever. I have always conducted myself very seriously, very military like, even to the point where, like, recently in the airport, some dude was looking at me. He's like, are you from the military? I'm like, no. I was like, you have a very military type, like poise or whatever, demeanor or whatever. I was like, oh, thank you. But it does not work for me within the pro wrestling business, because in the pro wrestling business, since it's so male dominated, the male ego wants you to be like all the time, and if you're not like that, then it's like, who's this? She's a BI, what do you? It's always completely like taken. I don't know, not well. Literally to the point where I've had men want to fight me just because I'm not smiley and flirty or whatever the hell it is that they expect from me. But I always conduct myself very military like. So I've had to learn to kind of tame that to a point where I was told a long time ago, smile, smile, smile. Always telling me smile, smile. I'm like, but why? Like why do I have to smile? I'm just normal. Like, what? Smile, smile, smile more, smile more, smile more. I'm like, okay. I mean, it has helped me. I don't know if, I guess my advice to other girls, if you're anything like me, then maybe just smile a little more just so that they don't misinterpret. But again, that kind of goes a little bit against my mantra about to none, no one's perception of me. That doesn't mean, you know what I mean?
No, I understand. I mean, it seems like we get as Puerto Ricans, we get a bad rap in that. You know what I'm saying? Because I get that same thing.
Why do I have to smile 24/7? Even if there's nothing like
on.
going on.
You beat me to it, Hector. You beat me to it.
I get it in my own home, okay? I mean, my wife decides to watch
this. Home. You've been like that since I first met you. What you talking about?
Like, why is this guy always angry? I'm not angry at the world.
It helps with politicking.
I guess.
But like from me, that's from what I've gotten, right? But like from me, my advice from me is to, and what I always tell all the other girls is, I'm always trying to push the bow to none mantra and the hard work over everything, because I see a lot of girls that still to this day, obviously, because there's still so much more to go, struggling really hard to find a direction, because you're always pulled into so many different directions, because that's what politics is. Everybody has their own agenda, and they're always trying to push everything and everyone to their own agenda, and it's always so, I just always see them so lost. And it's like, I just tell them, like, just work hard, period. Work hard, keep to yourself. Don't be worrying about at the end of the day, your hard work will take you where you need to go. There will always be people trying to to like stomp on you or put a foot so you trip or anything. That will never cease to not exist in pro wrestling. So you have to do whatever you need to do to maintain your mental health through all that madness, and just stay, absolutely never allow anyone to take away that integrity from you, because you will have it always like tempted to be directed into that or anything like that. But I always tell them, I promise you that if you just stick to working hard and just not letting yourself be pulled into anything that's not good, or that, no matter what they promise you or whatever, if you just stick to your integrity and working hard, I promise you it pays off. I promise you. So that's me, what I always tell them.
I agree with you 100%. Hey, for all the listeners, I see the numbers are creeping up a little bit. Hey, thank you for joining to the HHW Show Podcast. We have a special guest here, Ivelisse, the world champion, 4-time Shine champion, and she's pretty much been like almost in every wrestling business there is. I know you touched on this, but if you could elaborate one more time. There was a question from Sandra Arroyo Sanchez. He says, well, I guess he's trying to write to us, knowing that this is live, but who did you idolize growing up in wrestling?
I would have to say it was, again, it's always like a little combination of different things of different people. But mostly watching wrestling, I would say from the male side, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and from the female side, it was Lita. And that's, we're talking about the mainstream wrestling, because of course I watch Japanese wrestling and all this stuff like that, but we're in the US, so let's talk about the mainstream.
Mhm.
WWE. So growing up, I idolized Austin and Lita.
All right.
And that's the bottom line because you said so.
Which,
I
by
mean,
the
hey,
way, for the WWE Tough Enough, it was really hard not to like, fangirl or whatever, since I was a fan growing up of Austin. But I stuck to my military stance of dealing, uh, and I tried. I didn't break. I didn't break.
you didn't break. You mean you met him?
Much respect, huh?
Did you meet Stone Cold?
For the Tough Enough, WWE Tough Enough, he was
Yeah.
the host.
Okay. Hey, it's been a while, man. My bad. My bad. My bad. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt
He was the host.
me. I get in that chokehold. No.
Much respect. Much
Um.
respect.
Who do you wish you could wrestle against?
Man,
Anyone particular?
that's such a vast like list of people.
Oh, okay.
Because you've been in the
Like when
ring
I
with
get that,
quite.
like when I get that question, it's like there's so many people. But again, let's just stick to the main. We're in the U.S. Let's stick to the mainstream. I would say Asuka.
Oscar.
Kana.
All right. You know what? I'm down with that. I'll book it.
Book
I'll
it.
book it.
Book it.
I'll make up a title
style.
just for that match.
Mhm.
Okay,
We can
so
get very MMA and like Japanese and everything.
all right, so let's talk about MMA real quick because
Yeah.
that's your other favorite sport outside of wrestling, right? So you like fighting and stuff like that. You got anyone that particular that you follow in MMA that you could tune in to the television and be like, I want to see that fighter fight.
Well, I've always been a fan of Cyborg,
Hmm.
as well as I've been watching since Gina Carano and Cyborg fought. That's a long time ago.
Mm.
But Gina's been inactive for quite a while as well. She kind of like transitioned to movies. But I love the Lioness. Oh, how can we not mention Valentina? I really like
Okay.
her. I really, really like a lot. And the Chinese, how do you say her name? Damn it. Wei? The new
I don't know which
Chinese.
way you
I
want to
really like
go, but all right. I mean, that's cool. No, no
What?
disrespect. I don't know which way, but I think I know what you're talking about.
I think that's her last name, Wei.
Do you want to get in the octagon one day?
I always wanted to. I actually was training in Chicago. When I first went to Chicago, I was training to like to go down that route or whatever. I always thought of it, but since I had already invested so much in pro wrestling, like I felt like it would be kind of stupid of me to not like, I was training, I was about to start, but this, I started getting rewards from all that I had already invested in pro wrestling. So I was like, which way? And then everything kind of started, rising up in pro wrestling. So I just chose pro wrestling. I feel like it'd be a really stupid decision for me to go and do MMA at this time when my body's so beat up from 18 years of wrestling. It's like, I think it would be kind of stupid, but I do still train and stuff like that. But I would love
I mean,
to, but realistically, with all how torn my body is, I don't think it'd be a wise decision for me to do it at this time.
I
Fair enough.
respect that. I respect that. I mean, even if it's just training, going in there, that speaks more volume than anything else. So,
That is some intense training right there. When you do it with the MMA, that is some intense, hardcore cardio.
cardio indeed, especially during the ground techniques. I mean,
Yes.
that's I did there was one that there was like 7 different ways to get out of the um oh my god, now I forgot my English. The headlock, right? And they're teaching you how to get out of the headlock and stuff like that. Man, the next day, man, my neck was sore. My whole like upper body, like I couldn't even move. You're fine. You take a shower, you go to bed, then that next morning you try to get out of bed, but like, oh, what happened? So I mean, and that was just only one day of training. Imagine you gotta do all that training for like a month, 2, 3, 4 months. I'm like, you guys can have that stuff, man. No way. Um, Besides MMA, there's any other hobbies that you have?
Um, no, not really. I mean, I love to go to the beach because I'm a island girl. Not
An island girl. Yeah.
I mean,
island.
you are in near Tampa, so I mean, there's
Island
plenty of
boy.
beaches there.
That's why I was laughing. That's that song, Island Boy.
No, not to be confused.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Put them in a headlock.
So what's next for Ivelisse?
What's next for release? Kind of like what
Hmm.
I said. I'm just gonna continue like I always do to just do the best I can with what I got in front of me. And at the moment, you know, just keep doing what I can for Shine, for Ladies Night Out. I'm gonna be training at Shine soon. And there's another project coming up, women's wrestling related, which hopefully it comes to fruition. Should be soon. I'll also be involved with that. And again, if by miracle of life AEW decides to, kind of revisit and hopefully do it right this time, then we can always look into that. If not, then I'm just gonna keep doing what I've always done in the indies, and try to stay healthy as much as possible. I would absolutely love to retire very healthy. um and yeah, but that's definitely my number one priority above anything else, to maintain as much as I possibly can my mental health and my physical health, and everything else kind of falls second to that, and just keep doing that and see what happens before I decide to retire soon. Performance. Performance.
Performance. I got one picture that I did take
Because I
while I
know
was
a
in
lot of people
Waterbury.
think I'm really young, but no, I'm 33.
You don't look your age though. That's that.
I
I
know,
think
but that's
that's a
honestly
Puerto Rican thing or something like that, right?
exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
we take
exactly.
care of ourselves.
It's the J-Lo-ness.
Hey, so this is the picture I took in
Yeah,
Waterbury, you versus Mercedes, and again, that was one of the best matches I've seen in person. So I thank you for that. And I hope that you end up coming back to the Northeast area for NEW. At least one more match or so,
me too.
because we need that entertainment. We need that over here. So, and I know that there's a lot of young superstars that trying to like get their foot in the door, but it's always good to see veterans come in and show us what real wrestling is all about. So,
Yeah, that's also another massive thing, especially from what I've seen recently. I really feel that that helps women's wrestling as well. I really want to be that voice for female veterans, because I still can't believe it. I still can't believe how far behind. Like, why do male veterans get so much reverence and the female veterans don't? That, to me, that's so no, 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 no. I want to push for that as well. That's another massive point that I want to push for as well.
I wish I had that answer. And I know me and Hector talked about it a lot about when the women's evolution started. And of course, this is the mainstream WWE. We started seeing more females in the business. We saw NXT get built up and them crossing over to the main roster. Only very few stuck around to be in that main platform. Others were, like you said, smile more, be more diva look. But I thought that Diva's era was over. You know, once you got rid of that Divas championship
Mhm.
and you got the Raw and SmackDown championship, and then you like AEW stood up and now you got the women's championship, you'd be like, hey, you know what? Finally, we're gonna get some female wrestlers that they're not there just to be a cheerleader looking like or whatever. We want like those action, the storylines building up, and it seems like it was getting there, and then all of a sudden it just fell flat, and then we see
It
the
always
same old,
happens.
same old.
That happens all the time in women's wrestling. There's some progress and then it backtracks, and then there's some progress and then it's always through waves. It's always by waves, waves, waves. And honestly, I'm not like even though I'm very anti diva and like and this and that, but at the same time, like that doesn't mean that I want to like stomp on the diva like women either, because I've come across a lot of that look like that, and still I can see that they work really hard and they try really hard, or they really want to. So it's like I feel that neither one should be stomped. Like if a person feels like that's what they are, that's what they feel like that's who they truly are, cool,
Mhm.
go out there and do you. But like neither nobody should be stomped. Like there's different colors for everybody, and none of them should be stomped. But for the longest time, the one that was stomped on was the non diva like. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the whole thing happened. But that doesn't mean that the diva ones have to completely disappear either. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
No, it's
still
just strictly
a flavor.
diversity.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's still a flavor. Um. But I just wanted to like kind of clarify that in case anybody thought like that I'm just
Ah,
like, oh, but yeah, like I still have mad respect for certain females that just that they feel they want to present themselves that way. That's who they are. That's that's cool. If that's you, unique, perfect, awesome. Present yourself how you feel comfortable, how you feel. It just as long as the sanctity of pro wrestling, you know, doesn't get stomped on or get pushed aside or anything like that, cool. You know what I mean? That it's just that. Like, no matter how you choose to present yourself, at the end of the day, as long as you have that respect for the craft and the business and all of that, then that's all that matters. At least that's how I feel.
one other note, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. And a perfect example that you're discussing back in Lucha Underground, you guys were the first trio champions, and I think you were the
Hmm.
two-time trio champions.
Mhm.
How did you feel working with men, having two guys as partners battling against other, 3-on-3 battles, mixed genders, everything, the whole 9 yards? How'd you like that?
I was all for it. I liked it. It's just at that time it was a little bit of difficulty. It was a little bit of difficulty. Honestly, never with the Mexican wrestlers. Never. They were amazing. Uh, but I feel like it's a massive problem here in the U.S. Like the male ego and stuff like that. That became a little bit of a problem for me. Throughout like working, uh, in Lucha Underground. Um, but I want to clarify the Mexican. Oh my God, they were always a pleasure to work with. I never got that from them ever. Uh, and I feel like it's because it's part of the culture, so they have an utter respect for it in itself. You know what I mean? Um,
Yep.
and and they're used to seeing women really bust their ass in Mexico for the the sport or the business or whatever as well. So I feel like that's why there was absolutely no problem, like no difficulty whatsoever. It was just like with some, not all, some of
Mm.
the wrestlers from the US. But aside from that, I loved it. No matter what, I always see a match as a challenge and a puzzle to try to make it be the best story possible for that particular match, regardless of
Ab-
gender, regardless of anything.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way to go. Storyline, it defeats the purpose not to have a storyline. And I can always go back to the match I saw you with Mercedes, is that you didn't have to know. If I didn't know who you were or Mercedes or anything else like that, and you go to watch that match, you see it build up. He's like, okay, all right, let's go ahead. And then all of a sudden you're so into it, you'd be like, you're gonna you're gonna go for someone. The person is your choice, right? And there was no heel. That's what I liked about it. Is like you could tell that you guys were best friends at some point. And again, before I even knew who you were, I'm like, they know each other already. They're testing each other. All right, they're talking smack to each other. They're wrestling now. Oh, here comes the moves. Now
Could you
both of
tell?
you are
Hey,
flying everywhere.
not even hearing that they were
Huh?
from Puerto Rican. And you could tell too, I bet, by seeing that we're both Puerto Rican without
Well, I
having
mean,
to,
obviously, there was a
without
lot of
having
Puerto
to be
Rican
told.
flags out there. So, I mean, who's gonna miss that? Mira Boricua.
But I'm just saying, if you didn't see the entrance and see where we're from, if you just started watching from the beginning of the match as it developed, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Okay. No, definitely. Um, whew, man. I mean, I could talk for days when it comes to wrestling, man. Oh, it is, Evelise.
Me too.
It's been a pleasure. It is by all means. I mean, you see me. I'm smiling up in here, man. My dimples are getting deeper and stuff. So, um, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on our show. And Hector, now we always say this all the time. It is a privilege to
Yes.
have this platform. And Hector and I, we always talk smack to one another. 20 years ago, we always kept saying, "Yo, we should have our own show." And then all of a sudden, technology kicked in, and here we are. And these are the moments that we live in our dream to be interviewing superstars like yourself. And thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
Of
Thank
course,
you
us
so much.
Boricuas gotta help each other.
Absolutely.
Gotta
Me
stick
gusta
together.
eso.
Stick together.
But
It's a law.
before we go, um, our guests always have the last word, and I will definitely allow you to have the last word. And big shout out to the audience right now listening in. Give us something, advise something that we could take with us and go on with our lives. Go ahead.
I mean, I guess it would kind of go to like what I was saying earlier, like the advice I would give to girls or whatever. It honestly uh goes. It doesn't matter gender, girls or guys, in wrestling or in life in general. Like like my will and mental health was definitely tested, and I know it's been being tested specifically, all of us, through COVID and everything and all that. But I feel like mine was definitely tested the absolute most throughout the year, even outside of COVID. Um, but it just goes down to that, like just that perseverance that you can just never bow to the circumstances, the negativity, never bowing to the negativity, whether it being brought to you by a person or group of people, or by something, some kind of challenge in life or anything like that. Like never bowing to that, always holding your head high and pushing through, plowing through, um, with faith and knowing in your head that you deserve to see the end of it, and that you deserve, the fruition of all the hard work that you've put in. And that really helps keep your mind steady through whatever obstacles, and to always put as a priority mental health, because without that you cannot achieve anything. Without that you cannot do anything, whether it be to pull yourself out of a dark place or to maintain momentum in a positive way either. So if you maintain mental health as your number one priority, you will be able to manage through anything that life is throwing at you. And where'd you guys go?
I did say this. You had the last word, but all right. I didn't know you was gonna end it like that.
Well, I don't know what you.
No, it's
What
all
I'm
good.
supposed to
We were
say.
still here. We were listening all, but I appreciate all the words that you stated just now. She's like, where y'all go? I perdido.
What's going on? It's going on forever.
Hey, you were flowing, man. I let you be. No,
and
but
if
thank
any
you.
of you watch and want to interact with me or anything like that, you can always do so at my Instagram at Ivelisse Velez or Twitter at Real Ivelisse.
And all that information will be provided on the HHW Show website. So, matter of fact, it will be on after this show. So, thank you, Ivelisse. Thank you, Hector, for being here. And
No
as
problem.
always, we'll be back next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the prediction show for the Elimination Chamber. And a week after that, we're going urban up in here because I might have to ask you later, but where did these wrestlers get the names of their signature moves and how did they really know what their name is? We got that provided, everything. So you don't want to miss this show. But on behalf of CMG Sports Podcast Network, thank you for watching. Deuces.
Turn it up, turn it up. 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 Turn it up.